Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So this is Sandbox, okay?
Yeah.
It has been over a month. Over a month
It's been a
since
long old time.
the last
Me and Jamie have
episode.
been busy boys.
We got into a bit of a groove of doing this every week, and it kind of stopped. But that's what happens when you have a life. So
Yeah.
we're back,
Yep.
and we're going to be talking about last month's news. No, we're not.
We're here to stay. I mean, in a way we are.
So I've got my beer.
Yeah. Got my beer.
No, I'm going to talk about the beer because we're both drinking what we usually drink.
I'm drinking a beer Moretti.
If you are watching this and you're a regular fan of this podcast,
As many are.
we have also started. There's another podcast called Hitbox, which I've been enjoying filming immensely.
Yeah.
And I recommend you watch that too. I've been just before we start talking about games, I want to mention that I've been shocking about getting the audio versions of these podcasts up. And it was kind of a case of, I forgot a couple of times. And then
fell
every
out the
time it's
groove.
like, that's a long list of things to upload.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we've both been pretty shocking in terms of content recently, so I don't think any of us can be to blame. But Hitbox is very fun. It's at the moment it's been Jamie and his friends talking about their favourite games, and I very much enjoyed watching it. So check it out. Cheers, Jamie, and pardon
Cheers.
me.
I've really made a mess of this.
Yeah,
Cheers.
call
So
yourself a bartender.
we'll get right into it. Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk was delayed,
First on news.
and
Yeah,
you probably haven't heard this news because no one's talking about it. Basically, it was going to be November the 19th, and now it's December the 10th.
well, it originally was gonna be.
Originally, it was going to be like April 2020.
2018. Yeah.
And so now,
I think no games company ever is going to repeat CD Projekt Red's full disclosure arrangement they've got for Cyberpunk. It
can you
has.
explain to me what that is?
What do you mean?
What is this full disclosure thing?
It's just them showing like every stage of the journey of making the game, and being completely honest about everything. I guess completely open.
But in what way, though?
Well, they're just at every stage they're giving detailed descriptions of the development. I guess.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been really good for building hype because people are like, "Oh my god, look at all this stuff that we can see that you can't usually see with, usually a AAA game. It's kept very under wraps until the game is released. You don't know anything
Yeah.
about it until it's released, and it's all exciting. You find stuff out, and you might get leaks and stuff, but you don't really know what's going to happen. But with this, it's like they're just showing everything off. Here's what we're going to offer. And they keep making promises which maybe they shouldn't be making.
It's just exhausting.
Yeah. Like, I'm hyped for Cyberpunk, but I'm not nearly as hyped as some people are. And I'm not following it quite as closely as some people are. But I can still, what I'm trying to say is I'm not a fanboy, but I'm still completely understanding of pretty much every single thing they've done throughout the entire run of this release.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like getting really angry, like, "Oh, there's another delay, and it's already gone gold, and they shouldn't be making promises they can't keep." It's like, give them a bit of slack. I guess it's a bit understandable if you've pre-ordered the game.
I
But
think
still,
people are rightfully upset for booking days off their holiday.
yeah.
On
That
holiday.
happened on Twitter.
Yeah.
Someone's like, "I'm going to book his day off work. Is it definitely going to be released now?" And they're like, "Yeah, go on." We
I
got
love
delayed
how
the next
how
day.
that blew up. It's so funny. I think that guy literally just needs to be like, here's the proof.
That's really
Like,
funny.
look how many times this post was shared.
Oh, that is really funny.
I'm not. I don't share the sentiment of. So I was on the Cyberpunk subreddit, which I occasionally look at, and people are like losing their minds, and I don't. I think it's really bad that they have managed to delay it this many times now. I think that is obviously definitely poor management for sure. Like that is a.
And their reasoning this time was that it's being released on 8 consoles, so they've got a lot to do to make sure it works and everything effectively. But they've known for a long time it was coming out on 8 different systems.
It seems to be that the old gen PlayStation 4, Xbox One are really struggling with it.
Yeah,
and from what I can gather, it seems like the PC and next gen console version is like good, like done.
Yeah.
The game went gold, right? It's done.
And so Stadia is crashing.
But some people are comparing it to No Man's Sky and are already writing the game off as a failure. That is not fair.
Yeah, not at all.
Like, No Man's Sky was super duper 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 hyped. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've seen multiple comments, like quite a few comments comparing it.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky had sky high hype for a very long time, and then when it released, it didn't have like 100 delays. When it released, it turned out it was not amazing. It was just
not even that. They just completely lied about the features in the game.
That's true.
Like they said, it would have multiplayer, and it didn't. Like really basic stuff. No Man's Sky should have been delayed a lot.
I mean, there's nothing to say that this is happening, and a lot of people are also saying this Cyberpunk is for sure going to be delayed until sometime in 2021.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that either, because if they are being serious and they said the game has gone gold, that means that there is a copy of Cyberpunk that has been burnt onto an actual Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Like that is what going gold means. There is a disc that exists that has the final product on that has been sent off to the companies that print the discs as the master disc.
Feasibly can be released now.
Yeah. So there's no... I don't believe that it still has loads of work. I truly think it is done.
No, it sounds to me that it's ready. They could feasibly release it, but probably because of all the hype, they want to make sure they want to do some final testing. They want to make sure it's completely ready, completely optimized, no other issues. It's going to run well.
They've got themselves into a pickle, really, because
they can't have any issues now.
It's just, I'm dreading it. I'm quite nervous. I'm dreading. I don't want to see Cyberpunk. Can't be a 9 out of 10. It cannot be a 9 out of 10.
It has to be a 10 out of 10.
It has to be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, what else can it be? If it's a 9 out of 10 game, people will be like, why? This is the most hyped game of forever. Like, ever.
It actually probably is the most hyped game ever, yeah.
And
yeah, so I mean, that's the issue of hype.
They're probably thinking, oh, crap, like, this needs to be perfect. And they were like, okay, we're ready to go. And some guy, some playtester, walked into a corridor, and then like a giant boob like appeared out of nowhere or something, and they looked at that and were like, we can't actually have that, can we?
21 more days.
21 more days.
No, yeah, I mean, every step, every reason they've given for delays, or for anything, any negative press I've seen, they've always given a reasonable explanation. Like,
evidently, and when I say they, I'm referring to like the marketing team.
Yeah,
they're or whoever is in charge of this, not the devs. They'd be absolutely. They were already mad to delay it as it is, but they'd be, especially considering the response that this has been given, they would be just absolutely insane, like beyond belief, to delay it another time after this.
Yeah.
Like that just cannot happen. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Because they look at this delay and they're like, right, guys, we need to know when this is done.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully 21 days was an overestimate.
Well, I mean,
Hopefully.
you know, that's rule one of project planning is
Yeah.
give yourself more time, calculate how much time you think you're going to need, and like add like a third at least. Yeah, I don't know. You can't blame them. They've had COVID, and it's a huge product, you know.
You can't get mad at the people making the game because of COVID.
Yeah,
But you can be like a little bit peed off with whoever is in charge of setting that day and telling people. And like the poor social media team, they're going to get
they didn't know it was gonna be
absolutely
delayed.
wrecked for this.
Yeah,
They're just the middlemen, and they're going to get wrecked for this.
yeah, they're just like in completely different department. They're not involved in those meetings.
No.
Oh, yeah, no, and I do think it's reasonable, especially if you've pre-ordered, to be, you know, a bit annoyed about the release date. However, I do also think that it's an issue of overhyping that you see quite a lot of these sorts of games. You know, maybe a middle ground.
Oh, this game has been overhyped. I hope it hasn't. I hope it meets the hype, but I think it's been overhyped.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
a video game.
Touchwood, hopefully. I mean, it's a video game, yeah. Like, us two are quite, you know, we're kind of the opinion that, oh yeah, games can really have meaning and really matter and make a difference. At the same time, it's just a video game.
Yeah, like ultimately, it's not going to. It's just it's I think going to be a very, very good video game.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I'd be shocked if it was transformative. It's probably just going to be the best example of that genre. But it can't be. It can't be like. There's nothing that suggests that it's going to be revolutionary in terms of how games are told. Nothing about it suggests that. It just looks like a really good game. And so,
it's just going to be a fun game.
I hope it's fun.
A really, really fun game. That's all I'm hoping for. I mean, if anything, what I've seen of the game has left me unimpressed compared to what I've been picturing in my head.
I agree, actually.
But
unfortunately, yeah.
I said this to you on podcasts before. Like, some of it looks a bit jank, but you know, they've done more since then, since what we've seen in the past. So let's just see what they release. I mean, you know, maybe we've got like Death Stranding, where hideous Kojima said that it was going to be a game like you've never played before. It's just a big old balancing simulator.
So that's the reality of when people say that they're going to actually change the way we think about gaming.
Yeah,
that is what happens when people say that. That's like a 7 or an 8 out of 10 game with one feature that is like crazy and weird, but it doesn't become an actual product.
But more advanced.
QWOP should have changed things for the better. I want to be playing all my battle royales by controlling all limbs separately, mapped to a single key.
Yeah, that's how gaming should work. And for the record, I did enjoy Death Stranding. It was a nice, relaxing game. But again, a victim of overhype, probably, which I was also involved in. Because, you know, everyone's a hypocrite.
Death Stranding was overhyped, but in fairness,
hyped to Cyberpunk.
There was no gameplay of Death Stranding.
Yeah,
and it was still overhyped. Whereas Cyberpunk, you can see what the product is by now.
Yeah, it's just like The Witcher in the future.
The only thing. Well, we can talk about this for an incredibly long time, but
yeah, we could. Let's say what you need to say.
I was to say I just want it to be deep enough as an RPG with very good replayability, where I can go and play a new game and be a new person, a new character, properly, like truly, genuinely,
and have a different experience.
Have a different experience.
Yeah,
I don't even mind. Just, I don't know. I haven't played a game like that in a long time.
I want at least 5 different genitalia options in the character creation menu.
Oh, that was leaked, actually. They leaked
genitals.
All of the different combinations of body pieces and stuff.
There's 7,000 options.
Well, so one thing that wasn't on that list was like genitals, but they did have nipples, and I think there was like 5 different nipple types. So that's a thing. Can
I adjust like size, pointiness, color?
It's not confirmed if there are sliders or not, but you'd think there'd be sliders, wouldn't you?
Sliders are required in my book, and not those sliders where it snaps and there's just set different types. Yeah. I went full on, like I'm adjusting the RGB.
Fallout 4 and Red Dead 2 actually online.
Yeah.
For all the faults of Fallout 4, that character creator was excellent.
Yeah.
Like that, you could make that face really whatever you wanted it to be. I loved that.
Yeah, I just want to make my own face. Always.
Someone's always grinning.
Just like me. Curly hair options. There's never enough curly hair options.
Yeah, curly hair options, and just something that isn't blonde or brown or black. Ginger.
Yeah, I usually am quite okay for a bit of a strawberry blonde option.
Yeah, you're alright. But have you noticed how there's like rarely any ginger options?
Yeah, it's either really ginger or like no ginger at all.
Yeah.
Like orange.
So
next news.
Just want to I would like to quickly mention that there is, for me at least, there is some good news in Cyberpunk being delayed.
Yeah.
In that Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity came out the same, it's like the day after or the day before. I think the day after Cyberpunk was originally going to come out.
Yeah.
And so now I can just get hyped for that instead.
That's pretty good. Get it a bit more publicity and you'll have more time for it.
Because I pre-ordered it, but I had no intention of playing that.
I was going to say, I think we explicitly discussed that in a previous podcast, that you were just not going to play it for 6 months until after you got a little bit tired of Cyberpunk.
I think there's a demo out, actually. I might download that tonight and have a little
That'd
play.
be pretty cool.
Anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
Got a few. Well, we'll quickly mention some PC-related things. The RTX 3070 is out today.
Yeah.
And it obviously, predictably, is good. Like it's basically the same as a 2080 Ti, except instead of costing £1,200, it costs £400.
I love it's good.
It's like just good. Yeah, there's nothing revolutionary about it.
Yeah,
like it's just
it lived up to the hype, you might say.
It's as good as their last best card, but for a third of the price. What can you say?
Yeah.
Here's something I will say, actually.
Yeah.
A month ago, when we did the last episode of Sandbox, I ordered an RTX 3080.
Yeah.
It still hasn't bloody come yet.
Yeah, you're going to be waiting a while for that.
I get weekly updates from them telling me where my queue position is, and every week I go down by literally one. So they're not selling any. It's just people who are dropping out of the queue.
Yeah.
So I'm currently 39th.
Not too bad. You might get it by Christmas.
See, I was panicking because, oh no, I won't have it for Cyberpunk. I might now.
Oh man, the advantages of delays. You might get 3080 in time.
And in final PC news, because I know this isn't. It's all like I get obsessed over this stuff, but I appreciate that it's not the most interesting.
It's tied into video games.
there's AMD released 2 new things. They've got their new CPUs, the new GPUs.
Mm.
Today they just talked about how their flagship 6,000 something, I can't remember the name, card costs £999.
Fair.
And they claim it's as good as the 3090, which costs hundreds of pounds more.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
there's that.
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, that was just today.
Yeah.
The bad news, AMD fans, is that their ray tracing is pretty crap in comparison.
It's not looking great for AMD, is it?
No. And they haven't got any of the deep learning cores. And so there's a reason why it costs a few £100 less.
Yeah.
That's that.
Bit of a shame.
Let's talk about Facebook.
Oh. That's a bit new.
Facebook have, as they like to do slowly over time, they've tightened their grip a little bit.
Yeah.
And, Facebook own Oculus.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, exactly.
They're just putting deadlines down slowly.
Yeah.
To people having to have a Facebook account for
Yeah.
Oculus. And that's now a thing. Except if you... I think it's like 2023, I think, where they basically said your virtual reality headset will cease to work unless you connect to Facebook.
Account. Yeah.
But it gets worse because
Does it?
not only does that Facebook account have to exist, it can't be a dummy one. It has to be a legit one, and they will look at it.
How do they know it's legit?
I'm assuming they must look at like post history and stuff. I don't really know how that works.
So what if you just don't use Facebook ever?
I don't know.
That's
also
a bit terrifying.
Some guy on the internet has 2 Oculus VR headsets, and because of how the sign-in system works, he was only allowed to use one of them now.
God, Zuck, what are you doing?
Imagine if you bought a new Samsung monitor and it would just not turn on unless you signed into Samsung account.
I mean, that's the thing to think about a VR headset is it's not like a video game console, which even then it would be bad enough, but it's essentially a monitor. It's a screen.
They want you to believe that it's like a console. That's what they're marketing it as. But
you can't buy an Oculus Rift and just stick it on your face and play video games. You need a beefy PC.
It's just imagine all the products that we use, and imagine this dystopia that we're pretty much already in, where you have to sign in to an account to use you. This is hardware.
It's
that you've purchased yourself.
It's terrifying to think that you need to give up your personal data just to use random hardware. Like, oh, you can't use this keyboard unless you send Zuck a nude.
It's mad.
Yeah, it is.
Where does it stop, Jack? Like, at what point? Like, what if you have an Oculus headset? You've been using it for years.
Yeah.
In the future, they turn around and say, "Yeah, now we're making Facebook Oculus. It's a subscription service, and you have to pay it. Otherwise, you won't be able to use your VR headset."
I mean, it could happen for anything. It could happen with your mobile phone. Like, you suddenly need to link it to a Facebook account, or to anything. To a Chinese TikTok account.
It makes me want to
go and live in the woods.
Rooting your phone is very easy to do. I've got like this properly niche, no one bought it phone, And so I'm quite comfortable that they're never going to turn around and decide to go crazy on it because they
Yeah.
probably don't care.
Yeah.
But if you have an iPhone, you might be a little bit concerned, really, I think.
Or a Huawei.
Well, the Huawei is okay because you are actually bowing down to China regardless of what you do, and they make you think that you're free, but you're not.
I guess with Huawei, I kind of know where I stand. Like, China gets everything. I like the phone. That's it. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
I probably won't get a Huawei next time. I do need a new phone case, though.
My phone, I'll show you right now, it's like...
What is it, a G7?
It's a
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I got it because it was a really good value phone. That's the only reason.
I mean, that's why I got my Huawei.
Yeah.
And then
except mine's South Korean.
Yeah, they're a bit more trustworthy, I imagine. Not long after I realised that I was selling my soul. At least China's a bit further away from home.
God.
Right, that's tech news.
There's one more thing that I wanted to throw out.
Go for it.
And that's Nathan Drake, also known as Tom Holland.
2-bit thief. Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Because this is more your sort of.
It's more my field. Now, I really like Tom Holland as an actor. I recently saw The Devil All the Time, and I thought he was very good in that. And I don't know. Even as young Nathan Drake, I don't really see it. Because there are bits in Uncharted 4 you play as Nathan Drake as a child, and maybe that kid could grow into Tom Holland, but just like for longevity's sake, I don't see Tom Holland growing up to become a Nathan Drake at any point. Even at his current age, I don't see him as a young adult, even like late teen Nathan Drake. I just really, really don't see it. I think it's poor casting.
I don't see it. As someone who hasn't played any of the Uncharted games, I will say that in that image they released, in that specific image, he looks like Nathan Drake. But
I don't even think he does there.
From what I know about the character, which admittedly is not a lot, I agree that I can't see him as the character in any way.
I mean, there's one picture I'm looking at here from Uncharted 4 where Nathan Drake's got kind of a wide-eyed expression. He looks a bit Tom Hollandish. I mean, I just see someone cosplaying Nathan Drake at Comic-Con. Like, the costume's perfect. I just can't see him as Nathan Drake. He was... Oh, there's a cute picture here of him talking to Nolan North. That's good. He needs to do a lot of that.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to be doing a lot of shadowing Nolan North. I don't know. He might be good. He was quite different in The Devil All the Time to most of the other roles I've seen him in.
Yeah,
so,
I know I haven't. I was going to watch that movie. Would you recommend?
I really enjoyed it. It got pretty meh reviews.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Really good performances. I like the way the story tied together. I think people complained it was a bit too long. People complained about the narration, but I liked it. It was the guy who wrote the book, narrated the film. I thought it was good. But yeah, maybe cool. Check it out. It's quite bleak for the sake of it at points, but yeah. But yeah, maybe it's just a matter of seeing a bit more range from Tom Holland. And if he's a fan of the games, it could work. People thought that Heath Ledger was a terrible choice for Joker, and then look how that turned out. So we'll see.
That is really true. That is so funny. But the difference is, though, that the Joker is inherently... That Joker has a track... Sorry, that character has a track record for being portrayed differently each time it's appearing in different media. So you're allowed to have a blank canvas for the Joker, whereas Nathan Drake...
That's true. the Joker kind of has different. You've got kind of your clownish Joker, your gangster Joker. You've got kind of different iterations. But with Nathan Drake, is just Nathan Drake. He's the wisecracking adventurer. We'll see. Spider-Man's pretty wisecracking at times.
Can we just have Indiana Jones as old Nathan Drake, please?
As in Harrison Ford, or as in we tie the movies together?
I meant Harrison Ford, and the words Indiana Jones came out of your mouth because I was picturing Indiana Jones in my head.
In your magical child's mind, he's the same person. I mean, like, yeah, you just imagine more of like a Chris Pratt type character. Although even then, I don't really think Chris Pratt would be great for Nathan Drake, but more that direction.
I agree, yeah.
We'll see what he does. I like Tom Holland a lot. And if anything, the casting will be the least of the issues with the movie. It's a video game movie, so it's probably going to be a poorly written mess. And Mark Wahlberg's playing Sully.
I don't really understand that.
I don't understand that. Mark Wahlberg, Sully Uncharted. It comes up if you Google it. Oh, I don't see it all. It's a weird choice. Yeah.
So, if you don't mind, there's one more small thing I wish to bring up to the news section, then we can round that off.
Go for it.
Pokemon, the Crown Tundra, released this week, and I, of course, I didn't buy it.
I have never heard of that.
Well, it's part 2 of the expansion pass for Sword and Shield.
Pokemon Crown Tundra?
Yeah.
Crown because it's like the king and queen, because it's
the first one was the Isle of Armor, and the second one was the Crown Tundra.
Oh, I guess it ties in with Sword and Shield itself rather than just the Britishness.
So like it's basically crap and stuff. Whatever. We don't need to bash on Pokemon every episode.
Yeah, which we were.
I had to just bring up the fact that the one thing that I've wanted for a long time since I was a little child was Pokemon fusions, and they actually have introduced a Pokemon that can fuse with another Pokemon.
What is it?
Like properly. Like they've played with it before.
Yeah.
Where they've had like weird forms and stuff. But the Crown Pokemon, the actual like Calyrex can actually ride a horse Pokemon. There's 2 different horse Pokemon that it can actually ride, and then it becomes its own separate Pokemon.
That's pretty cool. I'm looking at it now.
And it has 2 abilities as well. It has both the abilities of Calyrex and the horse it's riding.
That's pretty high.
Which I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that. It does not redeem the franchise for me.
No, not in any way, but hey, Calyrex.
Calyrex. There he is.
So the next part of this podcast is where I ask you what you've been playing for the last month.
What I've been playing?
Yes.
Well, I haven't played it in several weeks now. I've been waiting to tell you about it. So let me just move my Discord on over so I can remember the name of it. It is called Spiritfarer.
I've heard
You've heard of it? I just randomly came across it on Steam. It is by Thunder Lotus Games.
I remember this. It's on the Switch as well. This game looks sick.
It is on Switch. It's an indie management sim and sandbox action game. So it's basically you have a little.
Pretty.
You are?
And it's pretty.
It's very pretty. It's got a really good art style, really good soundtrack. I've been listening to the soundtrack. It's very relaxing. So you've got little boats, and you travel around to different islands, and you collect spirits, and they come and join you on your boat. And then you basically have to do like quests for them and tasks. And they all kind of have their own like, plot line and character arc. And then eventually you take them to like move on into the afterlife. They're all like dead people, the spirits. And they appear as like kind of anthropomorphic animals. And yeah, it's a really, really nice game. It's very relaxing. See, your boat you build like a house for each spirit, and then you have different, farms and stuff. Different, what's what I'm looking for? Not utilities, but yeah, things.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm trying to say. And you can like fish and mine ores and smelt and cook and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then you wanna give all your spirits food and hugs and talk to them and stuff like that and complete their quests. And then and you just map courses around the map on your boat, and then you complete different missions and do different tasks while your boat's traveling to your destination. And it's really nice. And it's got very good like dialogue and plot. It's very nice when you like take someone to the afterlife. Afterwards, you're running through this like constellation platforming section, and then it shows like images of their life from them being a kid and growing up and stuff. It's really sweet. It's really nice.
Wow, I didn't know it was all that. I knew about the management stuff. I didn't realize it had that whole thing to it.
It's really nice. The management stuff isn't too deep. Like it's all it needs to be. But the main pull is that sort of emotional attachment you get to the characters.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. It was a really nice game. I need to play more of it. I haven't played nearly enough of it, to be honest. But yeah, we've been busy with things, so I haven't played it in a little while. But it's good. I'd recommend it. I won't give too much away either.
It's I think it's on Games Pass actually.
Well,
it is.
There you go. Get on that. It's a really cool, creative fantasy world. It's a lot of fun. Other than that, I've been playing Among Us with people. Always fun. I don't need to say much about Among Us because it's revelation.
Mildly popular, yeah.
Yeah. And I've also replayed a bit of God of War on PS4.
You've replayed some God of War? Interesting.
I've replayed some God of War because I still haven't finished Spider-Man or Horizon Zero Dawn, which I need to. But God of War's so good. It's probably my favourite PS4 game. It's really fun. I never
really need to play it. It looks so good.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get back to the other soon. I want to finish Spider-Man and Horizon Zero Dawn before I get the sequels for PS5.
Yeah.
But God of War is just so fun. It just sucks you back in. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. What about you,
Joe? A fair amount.
Hit me. It has been a while.
I've had a fair few. I've got my daily rotations that I should say weekly rotations. I'm always playing. I won't mention those, but I've been playing Resident Evil 2.
Oh yeah. The remake, I assume.
The remake.
Yeah.
And again, I don't need to like go too much into it. It came out last year.
Yeah.
But what a game! That is so good. It's so good. So I can't. I actually, it's right up there. So are you aware of Mr. X? Have you played the game?
It's one of the ones I watched on YouTube all the way through.
So Mr. X.
People I watch play all the Resident Evil games, but I never play them myself.
Yeah. Utterly terrifying.
Mm.
There's so much more scary than something like Outlast, because it's absolutely, well, it's half puzzle game anyway for a start.
Yeah.
But also, if you run out of bullets, you may find that you've gotten yourself into an almost impossible situation where you just cannot get out of it.
Yeah.
Like you can run past the zombies and stuff, but like that every shot you take, you better make that count, because you don't know where the next ammo is going to be.
Yeah.
Mr. X, when he appears, is relentless.
Yeah.
And I was aware of Mr. X, and I was aware of his functionality before playing the game, because you can't avoid it, games media.
Yeah.
However, I didn't quite realise how persistent he was.
I mean, he randomly appears, doesn't he? Like, it's never scripted. Well, it's scripted a couple of times, but
it's not. It's not really. So that's what I thought, but it's more than that.
Mm.
It's he kind of. You get to a certain point in the game where, when you first meet him, it's not that he can appear at any time.
Mm.
He will relentlessly chase you from the moment that you see him.
Yeah.
Until you leave that particular section of the game.
Mm.
And so this whole police station that you were around, like spending most of the game in,
yeah,
where you had your safe rooms, you had whatever. Now he's always chasing you, and the only thing you can do to stop him is to shoot him like a billion times, and then he'll be paralyzed for 30 seconds. It's mad.
Oh, and man.
I have not felt. I think it's probably the number one. I have not felt that much dread before in any video game. The dread that I got from running away from him was just.
Oh, it's brilliant. He's a very underrated horror villain in gaming.
Yeah.
And then he starts smashing through walls.
Yep. He smashes through walls. He's just unstoppable.
Mm.
And you...
Yeah, he's great.
You, like, blow him up several times and he's back.
Mm.
Oh. Anyway, I've been playing that. I've been playing a game called Barrow Trauma, which is it's a submarine game, multiplayer, and you basically have to... You're under the depths of some post-apocalyptic world with, like, monsters and stuff trying to get you. Mm. And you have to work... It's quite hardcore, and you have to work as a team to complete objectives.
This looks very fun.
It is pretty fun. And you'll have a specific role when you start the game.
Yeah.
So, like healer, mechanic, security guard, captain. There's all sorts of different things you can do.
Yeah.
I haven't played too much of it, but it's definitely unique.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I'm just looking at it now.
And finally, I've actually been... I'm not sure if I mentioned this before. I've been playing No Man's Sky a bit as well.
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
That's on Game Pass, of course.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it's not. I don't love it, but I have to say the scope of the game is
vast.
Just is so impressive, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure since release they've added ridiculous amounts.
Well, they've added stuff a lot, definitely. But the initial pool of planet-sized planets just doesn't... That doesn't get old. The whole time you're playing it, it's like you have moments, especially when you run out of fuel or something, where it's like, it's going to take me 5 real-life hours to get from just one continent on this planet to the other.
Yeah.
Let alone going to another planet. Like, it comes up, if you're not boosting, it gives you an approximation of how much time it's going to take. And if you're not using, like light speed jet boosters, it's like it's going to take you like 1 month. It will say like 1 month to get to this planet.
Really cool, actually. To proper get the full feel of planet-sized planet.
Yeah, and it kind of because obviously I clearly know how vast space is, but it's hard to, in everyday life when you're talking about space, it's hard to conceptualize that. But the game does a really good job at just reaffirming how big space is.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really cool. That's what you want it there for, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Solid stuff.
Now I want some real good juice from you. I want what you've been watching. I'm sure you have got a ton of stuff to talk about here.
I'm going to talk about 3 things.
Okay.
First, I'm going to say I've started watching Better Call Saul.
Finally, there we go.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm on season 2. I think episode 9. It's really good. People have told me it's really good. People have said it's better than Breaking Bad. I think at the point I'm at the moment, if I was comparing the first 2 seasons of Better Call Saul to the first 2 seasons of Breaking Bad, I think I would say I prefer Better Call Saul. I at least preferred season 1 of Better Call Saul to season 1 of Breaking Bad, but I maybe prefer season 2 of Breaking Bad to season 2 of Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
But either way, really good show. I said before that my favourite TV scene I saw this year was the airplane scene in season 1 of The Boys. But I think now it would potentially be overtaken by the negotiation scene in episode 2 of Better Call Saul, when Tuco has the 2 skateboarder kids in the desert, and he says he's going to kill them both. And then Jimmy McGill, aka Saul Goodman, manages to negotiate down
Slipping
to
Jim.
one of each of their legs broken. That scene was absolutely phenomenal. It was so good.
Yeah.
And it just perfectly encapsulates the whole show. And I love seeing more from Mike and how they kind of tie it together. It's really fun. I love it. I knew it'd be a good show because it's been really good and I've heard such good things. But yeah.
Mike is my favourite part, I think.
Mike's fun because you really
right
get the crime element with Mike straight away, which is really good. And the guy who plays Nacho is Vas from Far Cry 3, which is almost distracting to me, but he's great in it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching more of it. It's such a good show. It kind of gave me Mr. Robot feels at time when there's shots, not quite as good as Mr. Robot, but there's shots that are just so well done. The cinematography is so good.
It's crazy.
It just feels high budget to watch.
Oh, yeah, so good.
Which TV just misses completely.
There's some scenes which I think overdo it, but it is on the whole fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Moving on swiftly, I rewatched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Have you seen Scott Pilgrim vs. the World?
I've seen 75% of it.
See, here's the thing. I felt like I recalled you saying you hadn't seen it.
Well, I feel like I may as well. I haven't watched the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember the movie anyway.
I rewatched it the other day, and while I was watching it, all I could think was, this would surely be Jamie's favourite movie of all time if he sat down and watched it all the way through. It's so good. I mean, we're both big fans of Edgar Wright anyway, but it's so video gamey. It's so intensely anime. It's got such a great cast. It's so good. I love it.
Oh, I want to watch it with you then.
I want to watch it with you. I mean, I can completely see how it would be too much for some people or style over substance.
Yeah.
I think it's got a good heart anyway. But it just does everything so good. I've never read the comic, but I can imagine if you had read the comic, you would love the film. It's just so good. I love it.
The game has been re-released.
Oh, really?
After years, it got taken down, and there was some dispute over who owned the rights of the game.
Oh, man.
And so it was unavailable to download for years.
Yeah.
And now they've re-released it again.
I didn't actually hear about that.
Yeah.
It's a really great film. It's just... Yeah, it's just constant blasting fun effects at you and stuff like that. Chris Evans is really funny in it. The guy who plays Matthew Patel is really underrated. I'm going to Google him because I don't remember his name. But the first Evil X is really good, and I never hear any good things about him. Here he is. Satyal Baba. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he's really funny.
I'm looking now.
the most intensely anime live action character I've ever seen. His movements are so good. Yeah, it's just so meticulous. Like Edgar Wright is. Just all the little things are so well done. Everything's really, intended is what I'm trying to say. I guess
we should
do a commentary track.
Can we have just an Edgar Wright
watch party,
please? Can we make our way through all of his movies?
I love all of them, and then we can watch Ant-Man at the end and be sad about what it could have been.
What a horrible way to end such a glorious day.
No, yeah, I love all of his films so much.
I must remind myself of his movies because
you got the Cornetto trilogy, and then Baby Driver. Last Night in Soho comes out next year, hopefully. His next film. It's a psychological horror.
Oh, I saw the trailer for this. It looks sick.
And it's got Anya Taylor-Joy, who I actually really like.
Yes.
Matt Smith's in it.
She's appearing in lots of movies.
She is.
She's really blown up.
Yeah. Oh, Thomasin McKenzie. She was in Jojo Rabbit. She was the Jewish girl.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Should I quickly tell you my last thing I watched?
Yeah, please do.
It was Borat 2.
I watched that too.
That's good. I
watched it the day it came out.
You would have. Do you want to tell me what you've been watching, and then we'll finish up with a Borat 2 conversation?
Yeah, I really want to talk about Borat.
Do it.
Here we go. I've actually been watching a lot. So
go for it.
I've been watching. I can't. It's either Ratchet or Ratchet. I think it's Ratchet.
The one about the woman from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah. Is it good?
Ignore the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's like completely separate. I don't even make sense at all that it's the same character, in my opinion.
On the trailer for the show, it says based on one of the world's most famous characters. It's like, what? That's kind of iconic, but not that much.
As far as I'm concerned, they had an idea for a character, but they were struggling with a way to sell it to a mass market easily.
Yeah, so they based it on her.
Because honestly, I'm really enjoying it.
Mm.
It has not got mass market appeal when you watch it. It's very, very arty the way it's filmed. Surprising, like in your face, really. It's a huge feature. They have, when characters have evil intentions or they've hatched a scheme, the whole screen just has a green filter on it, and high pitched violin starts playing. It kind of feels. It takes place in the 50s, or so 50s or 60s, and but it almost feels bordering on a fantasy world. Because it's intentionally overly colourful, and the characters are all super weird, and the situations that happen are like pantomime. They're so dramatic and so sometimes disturbing. It's actually, there's one scene in particular where it was kind of difficult to watch. It was actually this is pretty messed up, actually.
Yeah.
And it takes place in a mental home where they're doing all sorts of crazy experiments on these people. Before that was outlawed.
Yeah.
Definitely worth watching. It's not. I would say that it's not bingeable. It's something that I've been watching one episode at a time when I've been in the mood for it.
Fair.
Because it is quite intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one.
I might check it out.
I've watched, obviously Borat. It's difficult because when I talk about my games, all I need to do is just go on Steam. I've got a list of recently played games. But with it's been a month.
I've recently watched on Netflix.
So I play a lot more games than I do
Watch things.
watch things.
But I mean, if you want, we can jump right into Borat too.
No, I need to think, because of course I've been watching. I'm continuing to watch the Marvel movies all over again.
Oh yeah.
I've been watching. The last one I watched was Avengers, and
Or what, the first Avengers?
yeah, it's surprising how rough some of that movie looks now. Like, it's really interesting. Like, there's some scenes which are indistinguishable from a movie that came out this year. You know, like the final battle at the end of the movie is just, you know, an embarrassment of riches as far as the studio is concerned. Like, they're just basically, you can just tell they just threw everything they've got at that last scene.
Yeah.
But then there's other scenes a little bit less low key, where the camera's a little bit wobbly, and it kind of feels like a little bit of a low budget drama. Actually,
I mean, the color, the color in the film, I don't know how to describe it, but everything's very bright and like the same tone, and it looks almost like a TV show at points, which is really funny to watch.
It does look like a truck TV show.
It looks really campy.
There's a scene where Hawkeye is flushing out Loki from his system.
Yeah.
And it has like this kind of like really high contrast filter.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like that looks low budge. Like, that is like a properly like straight out of an old TV show.
I might be mistaken as well, but I seem to remember very specific effects, like the Hulk smashing Loki around look a bit janky. Yeah, I don't know. Every time I rewatch that, I always think that just adds to the charm. Though it looks so like just a campy superhero film.
It's not a complaint. I enjoy the Avengers.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And nothing to this day, nothing beats all those characters meeting up for the first time. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's such a cool moment.
I think even Endgame didn't match the hype when I first saw the Avengers trailer. I remember watching it for the first time. I was in a Modern Warfare 2 lobby with my friends, and we watched the trailer together, and there was the end bit where the Leviathan thing comes out of the building, and we were all screaming.
That's a really cute story.
It was great. It was so hype. It was a great time to be an Avengers fan.
Yeah, I think that's another case of us being at the perfect age for that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Should we talk about Borat?
Let's do it. Did you enjoy it, Jamie?
I really, really liked it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
See, quite a few people have said they didn't think it was that good, but I very much enjoyed it. I would probably agree, not as good as the first one, but still a great film.
I mean, maybe. I thought it was. I mean, it loses the impact, I suppose, of this is the outrageous character Borat. I mean, we've seen that character before, so I guess in that sense, it's not as good.
And also, I think when the first Borat came out, it was kind of the first thing to. Well, I think it was the first film to incorporate such real public reactions in the plot. It's
pretty unique to this day, really.
No, it still is.
There's not that many movies that most movies that go for that. It's just like a gag reel.
Yeah.
Whereas this is, they collect probably like hundreds of hours of all sorts of different takes, and then mash it together and see if they can make a story from it.
I mean, it's no less impressive. It's so impressive what they managed to do.
So impressive.
If they mess it up, they can't go back and try again.
Nope.
Yeah.
Some of the scenes they do, they truly cannot.
And the things they get people to do is just insane. And the way it just ties in with the real world. And, especially American politics, what's happening, it's just crazy.
I do think that watching it ASAP is the best way to watch this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so relevant.
That's the thing. It in the future, the charm will be, oh my god, look what was happening back then. But now it's like, it's happening now. I mean, we've been hearing news stories about him at the rally, him running into the Mike Pence speech, him catching Rudy Giuliani in the room. Like it's crazy to see it all coming together in this film because people didn't even know what it was. They weren't sure if it was a new Borat film or a random Sacha Baron Cohen project or just him trolling people unrelated to anything he's doing.
I loved the beginning of the movie where they just include videos of him like running away from people who absolutely recognize him. And the fact that he's a celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, he's a celebrity, that's why it makes sense. It's so
like,
good.
He needs these disguises because people know who Borat is. It's like, yeah.
I think, I forget her name, but the co-star, who, his daughter in the movie, is a highlight of that movie for me.
Absolutely incredible. Maria Bakalova.
She was amazing, but also, Sacha Baron Cohen is... he's a very, very clever man who has demonstrated the mastery of that genre. He has balls. We know that. This person, a relatively unheard of actor, just comes out of nowhere and upstages him at some points. I mean, she's amazing.
She has no experience doing anything like this.
No,
she was absolutely incredible. Yeah, amazing. I think he interviewed 500 actors, and a lot of them, they actually went out into the streets and performed their characters on real people as practice. And obviously she ended up getting the role. And he said he was just so impressed by her. At times he felt an emotional connection to her while in character as Borat. It's great. And throughout the entire film, she's speaking, I think, Bulgarian.
Yeah,
she's Bulgarian.
Yeah. She's Bulgarian,
and he's speaking Hebrew. They're never speaking. Romanian. Do they speak in Kazakhstan?
Well, they say it's Kazakh,
but it's not. They're just speaking Hebrew and Bulgarian.
Oh, have you seen?
Hilarious. It's another highlight of the fact that you are also being targeted by the film. They're calling out your racism and your prejudice because you don't realize these things.
I find just the way that he makes he takes the piss out of people in the most hilariously clever way. Yeah. He just gets people to completely embarrass themselves, and often they have no idea that they look like an absolute fool.
He is genius.
He plays into it, and it's so well done.
I was watching an interview with him talking about people saying that he's racist and offensive and stuff, which fair, I guess. And he was saying basically he's a Jewish man. He hates prejudice and discrimination of any form.
Yeah.
And basically that through these characters, he gets people to do things that they wouldn't normally do or say. And people let their guard down around him.
Exactly. If you think that he's sexist or racist, you don't get it.
Missed the point.
And I was literally about to say, or you're just seeing the absolute bare minimum surface level of this humour. Well, he is such an intelligent man who has on multiple occasions spoken out against racists, fascists, etc. It's the character. He's showing people how awful other people are.
I think the main argument, which is the only time I can understand this argument of him being, discriminatory in any sense, is the way they portray Kazakhstan, because it is almost the butt of the joke. But however, his argument then is that it's what I was saying earlier. That's obviously not what Kazakhstan is like, and if you think that is what Kazakhstan is like, then you are another person that he has fooled. It's almost testing you. You have to understand the butt of the joke is these racist white people.
I need to double check this, but I'm pretty sure the Kazakhstan Tourism Board changed their logo their motto to
very nice.
It's very nice. Yeah.
The last film, they didn't react well to it, which ended up, perpetuating people's thoughts. Oh, Kazakhstan's like this, they're like that, just like in the film. But this time around, they fully embraced it, which they had to do.
Hey, people want to go to Kazakhstan way more because of this movie.
Yeah,
right.
And it's obviously it's not like in the film. It's
modern.
Yeah, it's got very nice places you can visit, like anywhere else.
Yep, I thought that was such a well done movie.
I mean, some of the things got people to say, like a crowd of Americans doing Nazi salutes, shouting, "Chop them up like the Saudis do." What could be more American than that? He must have been. When the cameraman caught that, they must have been like.
Yep.
It just captures things in such an intimate way that you can't get any other way. Oh,
yeah.
It's crazy.
And I love how his QAnon friends were really. They're actually were friends with him at one point.
They were really into it when they run up to the door and they're explaining what the Kazakhstan government are going to do to him. They're gonna tie 2 cows to him and they're gonna chop him in half. It's like, oh man, it was genuinely sweet that they just let this man stay with them. He stayed there for 5 days in character.
I don't believe they don't believe that was entirely true.
What, he stayed there for 5 days?
I don't believe that they were completely fooled by him. That's just impossible. Everyone knows who Borat is.
I mean, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like I could find a lot of middle-aged people who don't know who Borat is, or younger people.
So. I guess so.
A lot of people out there, but maybe not. Maybe not. I prefer to believe the story that he stayed there for 5 days.
I like that story.
In character.
I like that story.
And just the fact that there were times where they were so into it, they were like, "Oh, look, his daughter's over there. We've got to go and tell her." And they were they really thought they were involved in something big. They were. It was just not what they were expecting.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with Rudy Giuliani at the end, man alive.
And I love how they just tie in
COVID.
But Borat was responsible for spreading COVID.
I thought that was a really clever end. Apparently they had to do pretty heavy rewrites for that, so I thought that was really good.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I mean,
I think it was originally supposed to end with a child grooming Jeffrey Epstein sort of thing.
Okay.
And then COVID happened, and they couldn't do a lot of what they wanted to do, so they just jigged it about a bit. But wow. Yeah, you didn't even notice that. It all felt, intended.
Well, I think that just about does it for Sandbox.
I think that does. Very nice.
Thank you for watching Sandbox.
Thank you for being here.
34.
Oh my god. We're nearly at 50.
Episode 34. It's been a good one.
It has been a good one.
Can we guarantee you that there'll be another one next week?
No.
We can't guarantee it.
We can hope. We can always dream.
We'll see.
We squeezed a lot in considering we haven't done one in a month. It all felt concise and professional. We probably should be saving this talk for after we stop filming.
Goodbye, everyone. Like and subscribe.
Please subscribe. We're nearly at 150.
Really angry. So mad.
Bye.
Bye.